Hi, aloha everyone.
Welcome back to Hawaii Real. I have with me Vince Abramo. She is a speaker, coach, trainer,
Yes.
all kinds of things with Bamboo Shoots is
Yes.
the name of her company. And you do conflict resolution, mediator, that kind of stuff, coaching,
Facilitation.
talking to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting more clarity in their life.
Like all over the country too, not just like locally.
Yes.
Right? You're based locally, but you get customers from as far as like Florida and East Coast and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. How'd you get started in that?
So I found a lot of leadership issues while I was working in a lot of nonprofits for about 15 years. And I discovered John Maxwell. And when I used his system in the last nonprofit, I discovered how it changed people and changed me as a leader. And I was able to utilize a lot of those skills when I did the coaching with volunteers, with other employees. And then at the same time, I was going through my public administration, my master's degree, and I took conflict resolution. And I used those skills during that time too. And I was completely blown away how just a little bit of skills, using that, interactive skills, really helped me to understand the other person and for me to really lead them in a way that I never knew that was possible.
What are like your big challenges and stuff like that when you're doing these things?
My biggest challenges is for everyone to get over their ego. And that a lot of times they bring in their ego and they don't even realize it, whether it's positive or negative, or if they feel like they are above everyone else, or if they feel like
It's like everybody.
or they feel like they're not worthy of it. That's another part of ego that people don't understand, that it comes into play in facilitation, mediation, also in coaching
You mean
and
if
training.
like they don't have enough ego?
They don't have enough ego, right?
well,
Or they
that
feel
that's a
like,
thing.
yeah, and it is part of their ego that they feel ashamed, or they feel like they're not worthy, or that is, they have no idea how that is an ego-centric quality for
Right.
them. Yes.
Because I imagine when people talk about having an ego, it's like you're talking about the person on one side of the spectrum that just has too much, but nobody really thinks about the other side of the spectrum where you do have people that they don't think highly of themselves and stuff like that, right?
Yes. So, and then they quiet their voice, or they don't feel like they have no voice in the organization or their family, and then they don't get to share their feelings, or they don't get to share what they really want to say in that situation, whether it's a conflict or just a meeting. Then if they don't share what they need to share, then they're not getting out what they need, and it manifests itself in other ways. So we call it coming out sideways, when they're just stuffing it down.
It's almost like squishing cauliflower and just kind of
Yes.
cauliflower French fries. It's just, no, it doesn't work. How did I get on it? I don't know. Talking about
I think you're still in the keto diet still.
Yeah. I tried it. I was like, okay, it feels good. And then it didn't feel good.
Oh.
I was just being lazy, I think. Anyways, do you do any kind of diets?
Actually, just trying to cut down a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the big one when you're talking about any kind of diet is, well, just stop eating so much sugar.
Yes.
And probably like bread, wheat kind of carbs. I think that's the big thing. Because every diet fad you look at, it's like, stop doing sugar. Like, where's a diet that says like, hey, have as much sugar as you want? Like, I want that diet.
Well, that's the diabetic diet, right?
Oh, yes. What kind of diet you want? Diabetic? Diabetes? I want diabetes diet. It's terrible. You're terrible. So, what else is so you were talking about earlier, you traveled to the Philippines.
Yes.
And you're doing some work over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that wasn't for pleasure? That was just...
It was for pleasure, and it was a medical mission.
Okay.
We did it with Ohana Medical Mission with Dr. Sumida, and we did several villages throughout Ilocos Sur and Ilocos Norte. That was very exciting, very eye-opening. Someday I'd like to take all my clients to do a medical mission or some kind of mission in another country, and for them to really get that switch. I call it the switch when a lot of my coaching clients come have sessions with me, when they discover, they're like, oh my goodness, I never understood what it's like to be this way. Or I figured out that I'm very American when I went there, like expecting a lot of things, like really thinking like these people are really poor, really unhappy. And that's so opposite of what I witnessed. And they were very happy. They're very content people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because I lived in the Philippines for 3 years. We were talking about this off camera earlier. And people in America don't realize what poor is.
Oh.
Like they see our homeless on the streets and stuff. Oh, they're poor. They don't have anything. They don't have much. It's like, no. They have a whole hell of a lot more as a homeless person living on the streets in America than poor people in these other countries.
Yes. Homeless on the freeway in Manila.
Right.
Right.
Right. Like you have people that have nothing, have zero, and have no hope of getting anything.
Yes.
Like at least our homeless here have, programs, and they have some help, donations and stuff like that. They have food. I mean, you could say we have the fattest homeless people in the world, right? Like we have all
We
these
have
poor
very
people
privileged homeless people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you really want to know what homeless is like go to the Philippines.
Yes.
Or any of the, there's a number of countries you could go to and see like, hey, they're really poor people. It's like we actually have it really, really good.
Really good. And the value of taxes, we don't understand how much that infrastructure depends on it and how that plays into, yes, helping the people that are on the streets, but helping the infrastructure as far as traffic, helping with regulating, right, cost.
What is that big roadway in Manila? Queen.
Oh, you know this more than I do.
What's the name of it? Not Bonifacio. No, that's the fort. There's like this big boulevard in Manila that was just like traffic central, like 5 lanes going one way, just always backed up.
That's all I experienced in Manila.
The traffic,
traffic.
Yeah, traffic here sucks in Hawaii, but traffic, go to Manila. Like, guys, chill out on the traffic. I'm one of those people too, because I get so mad at traffic here. I think I get mad at traffic here because it's like a lot of the traffic is made by just like bad drivers or stupid drivers, like, or slow drivers.
And then is it necessary for you to be out at that time?
Oh, definitely.
That's, right? I mean, not for you, but other people.
Yeah. Like if you're old and retired, why are you on the road at 6 a.m. going to Longs? Stay in your house. Right. Go at 8 o'clock. Don't go at 6.
And it's interesting. This is another topic, but it's interesting how we have become a virtual world, but we don't even use the technology for that. Not a lot of companies have looked into really being open to having more virtual workers. We are connected already on the web, and we have those platforms, right? Monday, all those different platforms to enable us to keep track of our teams, our employees, but we still don't utilize that.
So you're talking about working from home.
Yes.
Coronavirus, yay, work from home.
And now we're scrambling to figure out how to make sure that we're supervising our employees, that they're getting all their work in. But now it's like, oh my gosh, how do we figure this out?
But I think there are ways to do that have been explored already in a lot of corporations and stuff. And I think with the virus that's going around and corporations are telling people to stay home, work from home and stuff like that, we're really starting to see like how much work can be done out of an office, outside of an office, not necessarily in office.
Yes. And then implementing that, right? And then of course, conflict resolution. If you can figure out an alternative dispute resolution, let's say if Bob doesn't come at 8 o'clock on the computer every day, and what do you do about that? How do you supervise that? If there is a complaint where this person is not able to connect or they don't have very good Wi-Fi, how do you figure that out? There's another step that a lot of employers need to take a look at when they are managing people that work from home.
Yeah, I hear you. But in this day and age with Wi-Fi, cell phones, connectivity, like for a worker to say, oh, I can't connect from home. It's like, come on,
Right.
brother.
Yes.
What are you doing at home? Reading all day? Because if you're doing
Watching
anything,
Netflix.
if you're watching Netflix, you have connection.
Right.
You can work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can have connection on the beach. You can, right? So,
Yep. Yeah. And with 5G coming, like that's going to expand even further.
right. And then monitoring that. How do you monitor that without seeming like you're micromanaging the person? That's another aspect.
Yeah. I think, what company was it? Microsoft or Amazon? One of those big corporations. Number one, they were getting rid of, I forget what corporation it was. Number one, they were getting rid of meetings. They weren't doing it anymore. They were either having virtual meetings or they were just doing things by email and asking for results from that.
Oh,
they just
that's
kinda
not a
got away
meeting.
from.
Yeah.
Well, they just kind of got away from it. They were just like,
okay.
okay, these meetings aren't.
It's just information.
Well,
Right?
it's just wasting everybody's time sometimes. Or you're getting a big meeting, you may be addressing, a percentage of the people in the room, but the other people, maybe they're not involved in that meeting or the
Right.
content that you're, giving out of that meeting. So you're wasting their time.
Right.
You may be hitting on someone, getting 100% of their attention, but these other people, you're getting like 5% of their attention, if that. It's like now you're wasting their time. They could be at their desk working, or they could be at their computers working.
And then that's the manager to figure out to really make sure that you need to all be aware who is playing a part in this, and that, of course, yes, take notes, but like, what is your part in this whole meeting? But really emphasizing that as a manager.
I don't like meetings. Stop having meetings unless they're needed. I mean, there are times when they need to be, you need to have meetings. But
Yes.
I just,
They have
Few
to
and
be
far between.
interactive, and they have to be problem solving for
Yeah.
me, for a real meeting to happen. If it's just information can be given through email, right?
yeah, totally.
Or even through social media, whatever you can do to put out content for your group or for your organization, do it that way. But if you're just reading a list, it's so unnecessary for teams to do that.
I think one of the big challenges to that is like, how do you know, as a manager, how do you know that your people got that information? So, oh, I emailed it to you. And I guess you have to hold them accountable
Yes.
to like check your email,
Yep.
like at least once or twice an hour.
Yes. And then having that process in place. So if you've said like a policy, implementing that policy and then checking up on them in a week or two. How's that policy going for you? How's that process going for you? Are you hitting all the numbers that you need to hit? Right? It's simple as that. But a lot of people don't follow up on that process and have their team accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did I see? I have all these things that I was like, oh, I saw this somewhere. I saw this somewhere. I heard this from that. They were talking about how people that work from home are far more productive than people that come into the office. Like they take shorter lunches. They work longer hours, even though they don't have set hours, so to speak. Like they'll work into the night.
Oh, yes.
Doing work so that they can stay home.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I find that I can do grant writing much better from home.
I hate grant writing. That's one of my jobs too. It's not one of my jobs. I supervise that.
I love to do research and finding out what works best for an organization, but that to me is like the best time to do it at home.
Yeah.
Not a lot of the distractions from a office.
And just being in the comfort of your own home is settling for a lot of people. It's like, no, I got to stop doing this. I got to go pick up the kids. Or I got to stop doing this and make dinner, or, give the kids a shower, whatever. You don't have to be in an office all the time to do that.
Right.
Especially with people with kids,
Yeah.
So I think with this virus, you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more offices telling people to stay home.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks from now, people are going to be like, no, I'm good. I'm going to stay home and work. I've been doing great
Right.
these past 2 weeks. Like my productivity's up. All these projects are getting done. And I'm happy because I'm working at home. I'm going to stay home.
Oh, then we'll get to that place where a lot of people work virtually.
Yeah. And then from the corporate side too, it's like, well, you're going to be saving money on like your office space. If you can shrink like your office, you can save money on your electric bills and stuff like that.
I'm a big believer in co-working spaces.
Yeah.
The biggest co-working space is Starbucks.
Yeah. That is true, huh? Because they're all over the place.
Right.
It's not just one centralized place.
And do you know that they turn up the music on purpose so people leave?
No, that's a great idea.
Yes.
Start playing like heavy metal. So you walk into a Starbucks and there's heavy metal. It's because somebody's in there too long.
It gets louder and louder.
But I might stay. It's like, oh, they're playing my jam. I haven't been in a Starbucks in a long time. But I do love coffee. Oh my God. But I can see how Starbucks could make it like a thing.
Right.
Like, why don't they rent out space?
Right. And then I just had this conversation with my son. I believe that co-working spaces, you know, those Office Maxes and Office Depots, it has all the supplies. Why don't they have co-working spaces right in the middle of the store? Right.
That would be cool.
And then, oh, I need to go get paperclip. They buy a box of paper clips right there. Right. And then they can rent out little tiny co-working spaces for $20 an hour or whatever. But it becomes a hub instead of these empty parking spots.
Yeah, you got these big stores that, you know, in the past, like retail stores, right? A lot of people coming in daily. And now with Amazon and, you know, online shopping and stuff like that, that sort of thing is tapered down a lot.
And then I love interactive stores. Like if there was a store, if Target had something in the middle where they had like workshops or things like that.
Just drop off your wives at Target and go. Oh, you mean a place at Target where they could make money and work?
Yes, exactly. Or like have a workshop, like whether it's interior design or fashion, you know, like figuring out what outfits to put together. I don't know, cooking class. Wouldn't that be awesome right in the middle of a store? I know they have it like in
like Home Depot does.
Yeah, and then Don Quixote, I think used to have that kind of stuff.
That's the funniest name ever.
It's owned.
So what else is going on?
So we have a class coming up for kids that are going into college, and it's I call it Time to Jump, but we utilize What Color is Your Parachute? And I have a guest speaker talking about financial aid and scholarships. It's a 7-day challenge, 1.5 hours every day during spring break. So a lot of kids can't go to the mall, right, during this time. So this is another option.
It's like one of those, it's like nobody goes to the mall. Nobody go to the mall because it's going to be crowded and don't want to get sick. But then there's nobody at the mall. It's like, wait, no, it's a good idea to go to the mall.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. And then conflict resolution class is coming up again, and then another leadership class. But anyone who's a coaching client of mine gets to join my classes for free.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I do monthly clients, and then just unpacking their goals and seeing what might be the block for them. A lot of times they can't get over managing a person, or they're frustrated with themselves not meeting their goals. So just trying to uncover that, and then maybe they get better with a lot of the other classes that come up.
So when you're doing these things with these people, what is your technique, or what do you go towards when you're talking with them?
I go towards what they eventually want to see. So I always see from their future, and I work backwards from there and seeing what we can fulfill from today to that future.
Do you have like a crystal ball? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
They have the crystal ball, actually.
Oh, so
they
you're
have all
getting
the
them-
answers.
Right.
But they haven't been verbally utilizing that skill, or even writing it down, or using that technique of even visualization.
You want to talk about visualization?
Sure. So visualization.
Is that one of your big go-tos?
It's one of my big go-tos, but I don't just depend on that. Action, right? You have to have faith in action. So visualization is really being specific, having the details, complete details of whatever your goals are. Even if you want a house, you have to go down to what the pipe looks like, what the counters look like, your flooring. When you're opening a cabinet, you have to come from that place of you're in the house and you're able to do that. Same with your team, same with being a leader. What are you visualizing yourself as a leader or as a going through, even through a conflict, even through a difficult meeting? Yes, even firing someone. How can you make that more gentle and then make sure that that person can transition to a better position? Not in the company, but outside of the company. Maybe it wasn't a good fit. But anything that comes into conflict with you, you know you're struggling with a goal.
So when you're talking about like visualizing a house, you broke it down to like the pipes and the countertops and stuff like that. Can you get into detail about what you're talking about with that? Because I know, it's easy to just say, but what are you really talking about?
What I'm talking about is really coming from the future. If you really want that house, not just people can put up all the pictures that they want, right, on their vision board, but actually living from that point of view. And then I don't like the part where you cut out magazines because that's not going to be your house, right? You have to actually draw it out and see what it is, and then, or write it out, like all the details of what the house looks like. And then what are you doing in the house, right? So I have my mentor, he would go and cut the grass of another person's lawn in a very upscale neighborhood, and he doesn't even own the house. But for a whole year, he would go cut the grass every week, and they eventually owned the house.
That same house that he was cutting grass?
Yes.
That's interesting.
It is. So he visualized, he actually did what he wanted to do.
That's so cool.
Isn't that
so
cool?
And I mean, that is a big thing with really successful people that have built up from nothing or from very little, is that they do have that visualization. I think a study went around years ago about looking at all these really successful people and everything they had in common, because they came from different walks of life and everything like that, is that they all had that visualization.
Right.
And they all sat down at, in the morning or at night, and they visualized what they wanted.
Yes.
And that's like the big split difference between someone who's really successful and someone who's just mediocre in their comfort zone, not really doing anything.
And the other factor is accountability and discipline, right? So I have clients that are very successful in what they do, but they're very disciplined. They hate running, but they still run 3 miles a day, right? They eat the cauliflower fries. They don't.
I stopped. Just for the record.
They don't eat any sugar, right? They're so disciplined. And then they take that same approach in work. So very disciplined, making sure that they hit all what they need to do during the day, and they have an outcome at the end of the day.
So I think that's one of the things that I look at with like this podcast is like, I want a guest once a week. I think in the future, when I have more time or anything like that, I want to bump it up to like twice a week or something like that. And I'm holding myself accountable to those goals. Yeah. Is this what I envisioned?
Is this what you envision?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's come out. I think it looks actually better than I envisioned it.
It's pretty good. You have a lot of equipment here. I'm very impressed.
But it's not just the equipment. I mean, it's what you do with the stuff.
Right.
Because I have these lights and everything, and like I've been trying to like get like the right lighting set up and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
Something I never knew about.
You had it in your mind, right? That you had this set up. Did you have it in your mind where you were gonna?
Kind of.
Right. And then the guest sitting across from you. Did you have a visualization of each guest?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Whether they came on the show already or they haven't. Yeah.
Right.
I actually had a whole list of people that I had made. I got a lot of them. Yeah.
And then being consistent on the calls, right? Making sure that you get them on the list. Like, I have this podcast. Are you interested? And then I call them, in sales, you call them the 7 touches, right? Making sure you reach out to them, email, social media, whether or not they take text or phone calls, but let's have a coffee. Let's talk about this podcast. And then you're doing action. There's, again, faith in action. If you really believe in your dream, you will actually work at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Too many people have a dream that they think that's just out of reach, so they're not even going to try for it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's actually not that far out of your reach. Your reach is actually longer and, farther than you actually know.
Right. And then breaking down those steps.
Yeah.
And then are you doing each step every day?
And so you help people do that.
I help people do that.
See, this is what I'm talking about, people. This is like one of the mentors and helpers.
Yes.
You have dreams, you have goals that you think are out of your reach. Reach out to someone that does have, some of that knowledge and ask the questions, get the answers.
Yes.
Find a path.
And then coming up is Pinnacle Network. We did put it on hold. Pinnacle Networking Women, we have it once a month. It's a woman who actually manages a golf course with her husband, and she was a trainer for Top Golf. Very rare for a woman to be a trainer for Top Golf. And she created this networking group across the country, and it's a Facebook networking group. So she has about 35 of them.
And they all just help each other?
We all help each other. It becomes this platform for women to support each other and in business, in small business. And then I also am part of Business Networking International. And we have, I'm thinking it may be postponed, but we have an extravaganza come up. And the purpose of BNI is really referral marketing, right? So one-to-ones, really on purpose to really help each other. So, and then, yes, I do belong to other networking groups, but I really believe in the power of networking.
Yeah, definitely. It's huge.
And a lot of people approach it in the wrong way, or they approach it in the spirit of just taking. If they approach it in a way of giving, that someone that they need to connect to, then they will in turn help you out.
Interesting.
Yes.
Take versus give.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So from your point of view for something like this podcast, give or take? Both.
Both.
What do you think?
Probably, I hope I'm giving more than I'm taking, but I'm taking away more knowledge of you.
For the podcast.
Yes.
No, I mean, I do want to give. I want to give people a platform to come out and talk and be real and talk about like things that they like, things that make them laugh. I think getting someone on the podcast and making them laugh and seeing them smile in the camera, like putting that out on social media gets people to really see like who this person is.
Yes.
And whether they take it further from there, use the podcast as a platform to like engage more people or get, more clients or whatever, that's great. I'd rather see that than, just see the scripted kind of question and answer kind of things.
That's awesome.
Because this wasn't scripted at all.
No.
Like,
no.
I didn't give her any questions.
No.
So what are we going to talk about? This is just like, nope, it's going to talk.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yes, it does. It does. And then there's an aspect that I do. I help out Hands in Helping Out, which is a nonprofit organization. They have several hundred volunteers that help other nonprofits. So we do have a class for volunteer managers coming up, and it's to help them to get better skills also. So all of this is about better skills, making sure that you create this change within you, about having a better leadership for yourself and for your team.
But what do you say to people that don't even reach out to you guys yet?
For coaches or for
anything?
For anything.
They either they know they need help or they don't know they need help yet. They maybe see this podcast and they're like, that might be for me. Or that's definitely not for me. What kind of message would you give to that person to kind of convince them that, no, you should reach out?
And I have a free consultation for anyone, 20 to 30 minutes, just have coffee, right? But if it's not your time to change, if you don't feel like you need to change, then it's not your time, right? I'd rather have you be ready and willing to really work because this is going to be the hardest work that you'll ever have. I have 5 coaches myself, and I have to be ready for my coaches to make sure that I'm accountable. I have everything all straight. And then why am I not reaching every goal?
But then people are going to make an excuse. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Yes.
Oh, next year. Oh, no, I'm still not ready.
And then what happens is that the universe or God will make them ready in a situation or an issue or a problem. When something comes up over and over again, it's telling you that you need to address it. If you're seeing it again and again, like until you realize that you need to change, or if you feel like that person around you needs to change, your self-development will change you and it will change the people around you.
Hopefully.
Yes. Yes.
That's the big hope. Guys got to reach out first.
And that's ego. We're going back to
Yeah.
ego, right?
Yeah. But I think on the low side of ego, even like not enough ego to think that they can change or think that they can, start a business or, quit that job that they hate and is not really paying the bills.
Yes.
It's like, guys, if you hate the job and it's not paying your bills, why are you doing it?
Right. Right.
We don't have that many years on this earth. Like, for you to just like be miserable for 40 years at a job that you hate.
And you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're
Right.
not fulfilling what God has given you as a gift. And that's where that's how your frustration comes up. I'm calling it sideways again. Whether it's your emotions, either you're angry or sad or whatever you are, worried, you have a lot of anxiety, it's because you feel frustrated and stuck in that job.
Yeah.
And because you're not really meeting your purpose.
There's always a purpose for you.
Yes.
It's not like working at a cashier or working as a waitress or something. I don't know.
Yep. And those are entry-level jobs, right?
Yeah.
So they're never meant to become this lifelong career unless you really love it.
We're going on like minimum wage talk now. It's like,
Unless you really love it and you're really good at
Yes.
it, yes, that is your purpose.
yeah.
But if you feel like you're frustrated or you're exhausted at the end of the day, move on.
I like to work like too much, I think. I like to relax too, but I've found like recently I'm not really watching TV.
Oh, nice.
It's definitely not a daily activity. Maybe once or twice a week. I like to play video games with the kids,
Right.
but that's like a once or twice a week thing.
But you know that you're fulfilling your purpose when you're not being distracted by all these other things.
Yeah. I'm sad that the NHL season stopped.
Oh,
But I'm not missing really any games because I wasn't watching any
Oh.
games. Like I would catch highlights and stuff like that, but I don't know how people can like sit at a TV and watch games weekly or more than,
binge watch.
several times a week and watch sports. It's like, guys, wasting away. So much you could do.
Right. At the end of your life, are you going to list down how much TV you watched or how much you made a difference in this world?
Yeah, exactly that. I like to say I have like the Alexander the Great complex. Like I want my name to be remembered out there. That's like huge ego, right? It's like, oh my God. I said that on camera.
And it's called the hero syndrome, right? So wanting to help people, but are you using your hero-ness to really fulfill your life's purpose?
It's like, am I Batman or Iron Man? I don't know.
And what
Definitely
powers are
not
you
Batman.
using?
Well, because like everybody knows who Iron Man is, right? Like Tony Stark was public about his thing. Batman wasn't, right? He was
Right.
like in the shadows kind of.
Alcoholic, right?
Oh yeah, but he didn't he had a secret identity,
Yes.
right? But even though they both used their fortunes to fight crime kind of thing,
Right.
but in very different ways.
Oh,
Interesting.
we can get on DC and Marvel for a long time, but
Go Marvel.
Yes.
Go Marvel. Okay, so we're talking about the stresses of people and how to get over it. Like, especially in a time like this where, the virus is hitting, not really hitting. I mean, it's coming
yes, it's coming.
kind of, and people are kind of freaking out
Yes.
buying toilet paper.
So thinking about your stress management and really making sure that your mental health is good. I know that there's a lot of anxiety out there and a lot of stress for people. But thinking about what can you control in the moment. And yes, make plans. Yes, have a life insurance. Yes, have all of that. but don't buy the 1,000 rolls of toilet paper.
Don't be going to Costco buying them out of toilet paper, guys.
Yes. And then you're taking away from the kapuna that probably was in the parking lot afraid to go into Long's, right? Are you helping out that
I
person?
wonder, did they buy out all the Depends? All the adult diapers? Did they buy those out
I
too?
didn't even think of that.
Because if there's a shortage of adult diapers, that's
Yeah.
scary.
I know there's a shortage of reading the temperature, and there's a shortage of bar soap now.
Bar soap?
Yes.
I mean, it just makes you wonder. It's like everybody's buying soap now. It's like, what were you doing before? Like, you don't have to stock up on soap. Just have enough for like the next month or so.
Right.
But then continue to wash your hands.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think this whole virus scare is changing our society for the better.
And then also being aware, right? Just being aware when people need to respect each other's space or boundaries. If they don't shake your hand, it's okay. If they don't want to do the fist bump or elbow bump or foot bump or whatever, bow or acknowledge them, say hi.
Yeah, like don't be Italy.
Yes.
Don't be kissing like full on
2 times.
Right, they kiss 2 times, but they also kiss like with their lips on the cheek. Like it's not the cheek to cheek kind of kiss.
Right.
It's like lip on cheek.
Yeah.
Twice. And then the next person, lip on cheek on the same cheek twice. Yeah, that's why it spread so fast in Italy. God. Yeah, they might not do that anymore.
Right. And then being aware of like cultural things. Like we need to respect each other because we never know who might have a weakened immune system or has an elderly parent that may be living with them. But please be aware of the neighbors that don't have anything that really need that stuff and just providing that for them, because in this time we should be really helping one another instead of hoarding stuff for ourselves.
Yeah, so I saw like all those masks and everything were sold out. I mean, they've been sold out for a while. But I don't see anybody wearing them. Have you seen anybody wearing them?
No, I haven't seen anyone wear them.
Where did they go?
So I think they're reselling them because I've seen them on Poshmark for $25 a piece.
But if nobody's wearing them, like, where are the masks? Oh, did you hear about that guy that bought up like 17,000 items of hand sanitizer?
No.
Because he was going to sell them on Amazon. So he went to like all these stores around his
No
town
way.
and just like bought them out.
Yes.
And then Amazon was like, you're not allowed to sell hand sanitizer on Amazon or something like that. They cut them off. They cut off everybody that's selling like hand sanitizer because people were bumping up the prices.
Right. I saw a roll of toilet paper for $50 on Poshmark.
You don't need toilet paper that much. Like by that time, just use dollar bills or something, right? Go to the ATM. People are weird.
Yeah. So managing your stress, making sure that your anxiety levels are not too high, control what you can during that time. Going about your daily routine. If you need to change, doing your work virtually, figuring how to process that and having a strategy around that, working with your employer or your employees. Just have a plan in place and then working that plan. Same thing with any kind of disaster, right? We need to have a plan in place, but control what you can right now.
Yeah, and the docks aren't closing. Guys. We were just talking about that.
Yes,
People,
I had that rumor.
social media spreading rumors and stuff.
Yes. And then rumors, how do you control the rumors? What's true right now? Go to the officials, go to reputable news sources.
Yeah. And I mean, I do like how social media, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes you have people that would start a rumor and it blasts out. And so you have kind of semi-panic. But on the flip side, you do have the agencies or the government or, whoever's responsible. They're able to put out counter information or counterintelligence on that rumor to dispel it quickly.
Right. I do like the action of people on Twitter when you just put in Hawaii traffic because the government can't get to it fast enough. It's just I depend on all the Twitter followers to just message me, oh, there's a bad accident.
Yeah.
It's so much faster.
Did you hear about the president utilizing like Google and Target and Walmart and stuff like that
No, I
to
didn't
help
hear
out
that.
to help out with the not help out with the virus, but utilizing Google to come up with a website or something for testing.
Oh,
I saw the article. I'm so bad right now. And then Target, Walmart for like supply chains and stuff like that for really desperately needed supplies and stuff.
oh, that's great. I like that they are finally doing the testing, the drive-through testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really necessary.
Pretty soon they're going to like mail it out or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, we got to do something. I think, a scare like this, because we had those hurricane scares and then the hurricane doesn't come or it hits a different island or it doesn't hit as bad. And so people kind of get numb to it and they buy the water. Okay, we have the water. Next hurricane coming. Okay, just going to be like last year, the year before that. But I think with this one, it's different
It is.
because it's not something we can see. And you don't know if we have it or not, if
Right.
it's spreading or not. We're only trusting like the news media to tell us.
And then talking to Nick about this yesterday, how many of them are not self-reporting?
Totally.
Maybe they just feel a fever and that's it, or they don't feel like they need to go to the doctor or report it.
And then they're spreading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Nick has been in one hurricane. I've been in 2 hurricanes on Kauai. We didn't go out and raid the shelves of everything, right? We just had what we had and we worked with what we have. And we became this neighborhood after every hurricane that supported one another. My mom and I would go and wash laundry for the whole neighborhood. We would go to the river and wash our clothes. And then that's how we helped one another.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have that resiliency in us. It's just, we need to calm that fear.
Toilet paper. 2021, we're going to look back and it would be like, yeah, everybody bought toilet paper. Remember that?
And I'm going to go there because I really enjoyed using the toilet in the Philippines. People are going to be shocked, but
Oh, like
they have the little spritzer things on the side of the toilets.
Oh.
The little hose. I'm like,
bidet
this
kinda
is
thing?
great.
yeah, you don't know pour until you have a toilet with no paper
Yes.
and like you got to flush it by hand. Right? You have like the sink, you got to fill up the little bucket of water and like put it inside. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, what do you do with that? So you got to fill up the toilet and flush it. It's like, what?
And they don't have the infrastructure. You can't put toilet paper down the toilet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They don't have that sewer system.
I totally forgot about this until
Yes.
just now. One sign in the Philippines said, conserve toilet paper, please use both sides.
Yes.
It's like, that's a thing. That's,
Yes.
Can you imagine? Like, you think you're poor? You think you have a hard life? Try being told you got to use both sides of the toilet paper.
And then I did have a girlfriend who installed those $20, $30 bidets in each of their toilets, and they didn't buy toilet paper.
Oh, nice.
So she's not worried.
It's probably cleaner than just toilet paper.
Yes. She says it's more sanitary. She works for a hospital, so
Yeah, I can imagine that.
yeah.
Yeah, if you have a shower, you just don't need. I don't know. We're not getting into that. Don't use a ton of toilet paper.
And then you might have a problem if you are using too much toilet paper too.
Yeah.
Right.
People in the Middle East are probably looking at us like, "What the hell is going on over there?"
Europe, a lot of countries.
Yeah. Well, I think places like where they don't even use toilet paper.
Right.
Like, what? These people are fighting over something we don't even have? Interesting.
Because they don't even have trees to utilize to make paper, right?
Or leaves.
Or leaves.
Wipe with leaves. Oh, we don't have trees.
They don't have a sewer system.
Oh, Josh.
I know. So sorry, I'm going off topic.
So off topic. This is going to be the off topic episode because I don't even know what we're supposed to talk about.
But yes, managing your stress. If you need to, take a deep breath. And then when you do your meditation or your prayer, right, that is a worry, a stress that you need to release.
Mm-hmm.
And then what can you control after that? And then that's what you do.
So when you brought up meditation, would you say there's a difference between meditation and visualization?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Meditation is a lot of times you have to release a lot of the stress, a lot of the worry. anxiety, anger. And it's just to keep you level-headed, calm, making sure that you're in touch with what you are able to control. And of course, you can control yourself, you can control your breath. And that's how you have even rest time for yourself. Emptying your mind. It's so hard. Meditation is the hardest thing I've ever done, but it helps you to release a lot of that stuff. So, but visualization, it's actually picturing yourself in that moment or solving that problem or getting to your goal.
So one is releasing and the other is kind of implementing.
And meditation, yes, you're filling yourself up, right? With the good stuff, with the stuff that really moves you forward, releases your stress or your anxiety.
Is there a French fry meditation? Because it sounds like that's what you're talking about right now.
You want to be
No.
filled up with cauliflower French fries?
No, regular French fries. I don't want cauliflower French fries.
I just had a client who was eating French fries. And she's like, I'm not supposed to be eating this. I'm like, okay. How do you feel? She's like, I feel kind of junk right now. I'm like, oh, okay. Are you going to do this again? She goes, probably not. I said, okay, so that there's a word in front of not that
Kind
maybe
Probably
that.
not. Maybe not.
She goes, I deserve this. I worked out hard. I'm like, oh, so what do you feel right now? Well, I guess I sabotage myself.
Oh. Well, on the flip side of that, it's like if you're going to be hardworking, successful, and diet and take care of your health, shouldn't you have some kind of reward at the end of the week?
Yes, but figure out the good reward. Whether it's treating yourself to a really good podcast like Hawaii Real.
That's not, no, that's work. That's not what we're talking about. Talking about ice cream.
And then, of course,
Dun, dun.
you can have a cheat day, but don't cheat too much where you're overindulging.
Yeah, just that
Right.
one day.
Yeah.
Just like all day, that one day. That's fine. No, but yeah, I think as long as you visualize and you focus on, not focus on what you can't do and why you shouldn't do stuff, but focus on what you really want to do and then figure out ways to do it. I think is key.
The whole goal is you want to get to your goal,
Yeah.
right? And how do you get there?
But even that is like create a goal. Like a lot of people just like, oh, my goal is to retire. It's like, dude, that's not a goal.
What do you want to do in retirement?
Right.
How do you
Right.
want to live?
Right.
Do you want to live the same way?
Mm-hmm.
And a good financial planner will walk you through that, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if I can retire. I think I'm just going to keep working because I just like working. I just like doing stuff.
Well, you're very good at this.
Like my brain is just like constantly going.
I don't think of myself ever retiring.
Yeah.
I want to be speaking and training and coaching.
Before we go, were you always like that or did that come to you?
Speaking, I found out at 12 years old. Speaking in Japanese at a competition, and I won the state competition, and I'm not even Japanese. Training, I would always like check on people and then seeing how they get better after a training. And then coaching, I never knew that was a gift of mine, but I liked seeing results.
Very cool. So you kind of
Yeah.
always had that in you. Yeah. So I feel like I didn't always have like entrepreneurship and going outside the box in me. That light had to have been switched on.
Huh.
But once it was switched on, it's like it gradually got brighter and brighter and brighter to the point where it's like I can't like stop.
Were you enterprising as a young child?
No,
Huh.
not at all.
Were you interested in business people or people that were successful?
Nope.
No. Wow.
Not at all.
Wow. When did that start, that light?
Probably like 2011, 2012.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And you can't turn it off. Once it's on, it's like it's on.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. But that's like one of my messages for people is like there is a light switch and it can be turned on. Everybody has it. You just got to find how to turn it on,
Yes.
you know? And people like yourself help people turn that light on.
Yes. And you grow for the better, and then grow your family, grow your community. Yeah.
Right. Vince, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
It's
you,
been great.
Leo.
It's been
Yes.
fun.
Yes. We can talk forever.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Vince Abramo. And as always, stay happy, Hawaii.